So I noticed I had sent out this message last week to make sure that you read the final project document that was attached. For each of the games, you had to attempt at least one bonus, and the games needed to work correctly. So if you go into classwork and go to that week, which was 6th through the 9th, which I know is just not an ideal way for us to align this class since you don't necessarily have to follow it, but unfortunately that's the way we're having all of our classrooms set up. This is the document right here. So here's your weekly document, and your weekly document says that you are working on lessons 7, 8, 9, and 10, and that they are an assessment. And you can see that in here I've put this separate document in. This document tells you each of the lessons you're going to be doing, and then some bonus ideas for them, as well as the rubric. Okay, so if you look in 7, the boxing match, you can program a way to win the match if either player reaches a certain number of points first, or if they have points after a certain amount of time. That's probably the hardest one. You can change the ape's difficulty. He comes with a variable that's set by 3. You can decrease it to make him wait longer or increase it to make him wait less time. So if you look in that lesson, if we go into augmented reality, and if I go to the boxing match, the difficulty is set on the ape. So if you scroll down and go to the ape, difficulty is set here. So you can adjust that number. You can also program it to make him block your hits. So if you look at his code, he has some things that he does here. It says to pick a random action between 1 and 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is what it does. There's no other ones in here, but there is a block, so you can add an else if here, and if the action is I have to grab the block. It's being a pain here. Let's see if I can pull it out and copy it. Oh, let me copy this. There we go. Copy, paste. So if I take this one and put it back in here, if it was 6, then I could have it call to do the block, because blocking hasn't been used in here. He kicks, he's alert, he does the flurry, he does the jab, but there is at no point a spot where he is actually blocking. So if you go and find these functions, it's called block. And if it comes to that, I gotta get rid of that extra one that I put in there, but here, now he blocks. So that's another way that you could do that extra in here. Number 8, human Pong. Add a win condition where the game ends after a player reaches a certain number of points. You can make the ball move faster or change the ball background and music. 2 and 3 are probably the easiest ones that you could do. If you go back and look at the ball is where it's going to have its motion and movement. So if I go to the ball and look at its speed, you can see right here is where it's moving, those pixels. So you could speed it up to make it harder. You could change the ball image to something else. So go in and edit it and change it to be a different color, fill it in with a different color. You could use backdrop and change that backdrop to a different backdrop. You could edit that and change this picture to something else. So those are options of ways that you could extend on that one. Brick Breaker. This one you can change the amount of health each brick has to make it harder and add background music and make the ball move faster. So if we go to Brick Breaker, right here. Brick Breaker, this one, I think the music is probably one of the easiest things you can do, and you could add that into the previous one as well. So what you'd want to do on the stage is just play some music. So if you go to sound, you could play a sound until done. You could also put that sound into a forever loop so it keeps playing it over and over again. And pick a sound that you want to use. There's all sorts of music in here. There's different things in each of these. You can pick some adventure sounds, whatever it is that you want to put in for your music, then it'll have music in it. To change the health of these bricks, to make it harder, if you notice the top bricks are all set to 3 for their health. These 2 outer ones are 2, these are 1, and these are 0. Change those numbers to bigger numbers. That's an easy way to make that one a little bit harder. All right, so in Fruit Ninja, you can do adding a point each time you slice a piece of fruit and display it on the screen, or add more types of fruit. My Tinker is being super weird right now, so I'm gonna open it in 2 windows. I was trying to use the copy code, which is an option that you have in Tinker to get code from one place to another, but it's not working. It's causing it to not respond at all. So I'm gonna go to the Pong game that I did and look at the code that I want to add to the score. So if I go over here and I look at my score, if I could see the code, that would be super fabulous. There we go. So I'm going to go over here and it says on start. So I need to grab an on start and then set active on self to false. Trying to figure out where they got that block from, because I am not seeing it in here anywhere. Let's see if it's in one of these. Yeah, it's physics. So if we go to physics, there we go. Set active on self to false. The next is to set font color to whatever color. It really actually doesn't matter what color you want to set it to. But we're going to go over to so we can search for a block. If we go up into the search block, and I'm going to search for fonts because that's driving me nuts. There we go. We can set the font color there, and then we can set it to bold. So we're going to do that red font. You can pick any color you want. I don't care. I'm going to make it bold. And you can set any size you want. This one had it at 72, which is nice and big on the screen, and I want to edit. Let's make sure it's all in here. Perfect. Okay, so we should have that score in there now. Now we need to create, first of all, we need a forever loop, so we have to go to Control and grab a forever, And then we need to go to variables and create a variable named score. So just create, make sure it's all actors and name it score. Click create, I already have one. And what you want to do is set the label to that. So that's for that text image. So if we go set label, it's right here. So we're going to set label to that score. So right now it should have nothing because we haven't done anything with the score. We need to add a score each time we hit the piece of fruit. So go to the fruit and go look at where it is smashed in half. That's this, where that clone startup is. So here you will add in a change score by 1. So if you go over to variables, you'll grab a change and put change score by 1. You'll do that on each piece of fruit. You'll go over here and add a change score by 1. Now, when the fruit pops up and you hit it, a score pops up in the middle of your screen. It's red. That 72 is still kind of small. I would maybe make it bigger. But that's how you add in the score.